talking about Richmond, where? Richmond? I didn't go there. No, I mean, I was near it. We drove through it. But I didn't throw anything out the window in the car.
This is Sheree Sano.
You'd be so easy to love, so easy to idolize all others above, so worth the yearning for, so swell to keep every home fire burning for. We'd be so grand at the gate, so carefree together that it does seem a shame that you can't see your future with me, 'cause you'd be so easy to love. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight to this beautiful venue, the Salmagundi Art Club. That compact little gem of a song that I just played for you, it's almost 100 years old. It was written by Cole Porter, and it's personal, it's universal, it makes a simple point in a simple but classy way, and it's vulnerable, and that's very Cole Porter to me. But what kind of person was Cole Porter? Where did he come from? What are the influences that affected him throughout his life? Well, Cole Porter was born in 1891 in Indiana. His father was a small businessman, but he was also a fairly accomplished musician and amateur poet. His mother was the daughter of the richest man in Indiana, which made Cole the richest little boy in Indiana. Cole was their third child, but he was their first and only child to survive past the age of 2. Yeah. So when Cole came along and he survived, his mother made a point of seeing that he thrived in every way. She was a big support to him. She was his greatest champion. At the age of 6, she arranged for him to have violin lessons. At the age of 8, he changed over to piano. By the age of 10, he'd written so many songs and little operettas that she was having them published and printed up into sheet music to encourage him, but maybe also to show off a little bit to her friends and family, because she's known to actually have changed his birth certificate to make him 2 years younger, to make him seem like a prodigy, a real, more of a prodigy. After he finished grammar school in Indiana, he went across country to a boarding school in New England, and he brought his piano with him. I mean, picture that, a 12-year-old going across country on a train, gotta have my piano with me. And I think it's because even at an early age, he understood the piano was going to be his best friend for his entire life. And it's true, it opened a conduit between him and other people. It made friends for him. When he graduated from that prep school, he graduated valedictorian, which is an indication of just how smart he was. And his grandfather rewarded him with a tour of Europe. And this is when the boy from Indiana became continental, He went to all the different countries. He learned about politics and art and history, fine food, fine wine, and music. And he adapted everything that he experienced into his own vernacular. Everything he saw or felt or heard, he turned it into his style. He used it as a basis for his style. And for instance, this song, he chose a Latin underpinning because the story of the song is set in a tropical paradise. And he thought that the Latin would enhance that, telling that story. But you'll see, it's not quite pure Latin. It's like a Porterism. When they begin, the begin brings back the sound of music so tender. It brings back a night of tropical splendor, brings back a memory evergreen. I'm with you once more under the stars, down by the shore, an orchestra's playing. Even the palms seem to be swaying when they begin, the begin. To live it again is past all endeavor, except when that tune clutches my heart. And there we are, swearing love forever, and promising never to part. What moments divine, what rapture serene, till clouds came along to disperse the joy we had tasted. Now when I hear people curse a chance wasted, I know all too well what they mean. Oh, let them begin the beginning, make them play, till the stars that were there before return above you. Till you whisper once more, darling, I love you, and we suddenly know what heaven we're in. When they begin, the begin. Irving Berlin used to tease him about that song because it sort of seems like it's over at a certain point and then it starts up again. And he would call him and be like, so how's that long song of yours going? You having any luck with that? But he really was a big fan of Cole Porter. In fact, he was known to say on many occasions to Cole Porter with other people around, anything I can do, you can do that. And I think you all know that's a takeoff on his song From Any Get Your Gun. He also was such a big fan that at one time, Cole had a show that was failing. It was going to close early. And Irving Berlin took out ads in all the major papers saying how great the show was, the best collection of songs anywhere, ever, by anyone. And ticket sales picked up. The show was saved. It had a good run after that. And I have to say, I think that's, it speaks well of Irving Berlin, but also maybe of the talent of Cole Porter that here's somebody, Irving Berlin wrote music and words for Broadway musicals and movies. That's what Cole Porter does. You would think that Irving Berlin would see him as a competitor, but such was his regard for him. He just didn't want to see the guy fail in any way. I think it's charming. After Cole returned from his trip to Europe, he entered Yale, where he studied music and English literature and French. He said to have written over 300 songs while he was at Yale, and two of them they still play. One of them is a fight song for one of their sports teams. Another is an anthem that the Glee Club sings. And Cole was very active in all of the performance clubs, the Glee Club, the Whiff and Poofs. He performed performed in them, he wrote for them. And because Yale it's in New Haven, Connecticut, it's not very far from Manhattan. He and his friends would often come down to Manhattan to take in everything that the city had to offer. Going to Broadway shows, he learned what worked in a Broadway show, what doesn't work in a Broadway show. They'd go to nightclubs, they'd go out to restaurants and museums, and maybe just strolling. The night is young, skies are clear. If you want to go walking, dear, it's delightful. It's delicious, it's lovely. I understand the reason why you're sentimental, 'cause so am I. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. You can tell at a glance what a swell night this is for romance. You can hear Mother Nature murmuring low. Let yourself go, so please be sweet, my chickadee. When I kiss you, just say to me, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's delectable, it's delirious, it's dilemma, it's the limit, it's deluxe. It's delightful, it's the limit, it's deluxe. It's the lovely. Now, being wealthy himself, Cole moved in fairly rarefied circles, and I'm sure he met a lot of very well-heeled gentlemen with their girlfriends. And I think I met one of those girlfriends once. I was playing at a very upscale restaurant on the Upper East Side, and a small group of gentlemen came in with girlfriends, and most of them went off to their table to have dinner. Well, one of them peeled off and came and sat next to me, and she was watching me play, and we were chatting a little bit between songs, and she's just looking around, just enjoying not being with them, I guess. And after a while, I said, do you think they're going to be mad at you because you're not sitting with them? And she's sort of like, I got this under control. They need me more than I need them, believe me. They're big boys and they'll be fine. And I thought, boy, you really have to admire her sense of confidence. But every time I do this song, or hear it sung, I always think of her. If a custom-tailored vet asked me out for something wet, if the vet begins to pet, I say, okay. But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. I'm always true to you, darling, in my way. I've been asked to have a meal by a big tycoon in steel. If the meal includes a deal, accept I may. But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. Always true to you, darling, in my way. There's an oil man known as Tex, who's keen to give me checks. And his checks, I fear, mean Texas here to stay. But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. Always true to you, darling, in my way. From Ohio, Mr. Thorne rings me up from night till morn. Mr. Thorne wants corn, and that ain't hay. But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. always true to you, darling, in my way. One more. The girl got around. From Milwaukee, Mr. Fritz wines and dines me at the Ritz. Mr. Fritz invented Schlitz, so Schlitz can pay. But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. Always true to you, darling, in my way. Yes, I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion. Yes, I'm always true to you, darling, in my way. Cole's grandfather, who was the source of all this money, really wanted Cole to be a lawyer. So after being in Yale for a while, he sent him off to Harvard Law. But after a few months at Harvard Law, it became really obvious that he was not cut out for the law. Even one of his faculty professors said, you know, you really should put your energies into what you're best at, which is music and literature. And so Cole changed his major and didn't tell his grandfather. And his mother kept his secret, which was kind of nice, I thought. When he graduated from Harvard, that was just about the time when World War I was starting up. And Cole went over to Europe to help with a relief organization. There's a, I think it's an urban myth myself, but there's a story that goes around that says he joined the French Foreign Legion. Okay. Well, they even have him on their list of members. But I have a hard time believing that this happened because they said he carried a portable piano with him so that he could entertain the troops, right? I have a hard time picturing Cole Porter slogging around the North African desert with a piano on his back. It just didn't seem the type. But I don't have any difficulty picturing him always with the piano. I think from the time he was a child, he realized that was always going to be his best friend. While he was in Europe, he maintained a very luxurious apartment. Just to give you an idea of how expensive this apartment was, it was palatial. It was like Versailles meets an apartment. And if he was paying our money today for that apartment, it would have been $70,000 a month. I know, right? But he would throw these lavish parties. One party he threw, he invited the entire Ballet Russe to come and dance for his performance, his show, yes, thank you. Thank you. And let's see, these parties were kind of notorious for their time because there was a lot of licentious behavior. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. Licentious, okay. And a lot of alcohol and a lot of recreational drugs. So I thought, well, maybe he has those in mind when he wrote this little ditty. I get no kick from champagne, mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some get a kick from cocaine. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, that would bore me terrifically too. But I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you, just standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to me, you obviously do not adore me. I get no kick in a plane. Flying too high with my head in the sky is my idea of nothing to do. But I get a kick kick, I get a kick out of you. Speaking of Paris, I realized when I was researching this show that I have a very early connection to Cole Porter music, because when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I was singing one of his songs around the house all the time. I don't know where I picked it up from or why, but this is it. I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the fall. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris every moment of the year. I love Paris. Why, oh why do I love Paris? Because my love is there. I love Paris. Why, oh why do I love Paris? Because my love is there. I don't know where I picked that song up from. After the war, Cole returned to the U.S., and he met the woman he would marry. Linda Lee Thomas was a socialite. She was 8 years older than him. She was 3 times richer than him. And she was divorced from an abusive marriage. In those days, even with all of her wealth, a divorced woman would not be accepted in polite society. This was the early part of the 20th century. And she would lose all of her friends, her connections, all of her social engagements. She would be ostracized from all of the society that she wanted to be a part of. So she needed to be married. And Cole, for his part, was gay. I think everybody knows that now. But in those days, you couldn't be out and proud. This was the early part of the 20th century, and he could have had his career completely ruined. He could have been ostracized from society. He could also have been arrested. So he needed to be married. He was pushing 30, and tongues were beginning to wag. And for Linda's part, she didn't care about the romantic aspects of marriage because she'd had such an abusive marriage already. And she knew that Cole was gay, and that didn't matter to her. But she loved his music, and he was an adorable person, too. I want to say that I don't think their marriage was just one of convenience. I think they were truly suited to each other. They really adored each other. They had a lot in common. They both loved to travel. They both loved to entertain. They loved museums. They were very well suited to each other. And Linda was a lot like his mom in a lot of ways. She was very protective of him, very supportive of him. And she often arranged for him to have continuing training in music, like his mother did. She made sure he had training in music when he was 6 and 8, right? And one of his teachers, no matter where they were, if they was in a palazzo in Venice or at they had an apartment in Paris as well, and they also had a really nice apartment at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. But wherever they were, she would arrange to have the best teachers teach him. One of his teachers was Igor Stravinsky, who at the time was, I think, the most acclaimed conductor and composer. And there's certain songs that Cole Porter has written that you feel like you can hear the classical underpinning of it. And nowhere more obvious than in, I think, this song. strange, dear, but true, dear. When I'm close to you, dear, stars fill the sky. So in love with you am I. Even without you, my arms fold about you. You know, darling, why? So in love with you am I. Love with the night, mysterious. The night when you first were there. Love with my joy, delirious. When I knew that you could care. So taunt me, hurt me, deceive me, desert me. I'm yours till I die. So in love, so in love, so in love with you, my love, am I. And the people have been asking me, why did you call it tension and release? And it's, there's a principle in music that says we should move from a moment of tension to a moment of resolve or release, into another moment of tension, another moment of resolve and release. There's this interplay between tension and release, which keeps us engaged, because we feel if you have a note or a phrase or a chord that seems like it wants to resolve, you wait for that. It engages you. It makes you wish for resolution. And this is good because it engages us on a kind of gut level. It bypasses our cerebral thinking. It's not intellectual. It's just a feeling of a slight discomfort. But then when you get the reward of the release, you feel happy. And then you're happy to go into this other moment of time. Here's an example. So in love, so in love, so in love with you, my love, am I. See, you didn't have to put that chord there, but it adds something, right? It makes you feel something. So that's why I call it tension and release. Now, Cole Porter, people think he just came right out of the box and he was successful, but he really struggled in the beginning. He would add a song or two here to somebody else's review, and his first show flopped. It was a complete flop. But he had gradual success through the 20s and pretty major success through the 30s and 40s. And one of his most successful songs appeared in Fred Astaire's very last stage show. And even at the time, it generated several very, very well-selling recordings, and the sheet music to it sold out almost as soon as they could print it. And even today, almost 100 years later, it's considered one of Warner Brothers' crown jewels, because it still generates hundreds of thousands of dollars in royalties every year. I mean, how many songs are we singing today that are going to have that kind of staying power 100 years from now? I don't know. This is that song. You are the one, only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, No matter, darling, where you are, I think of you night and day. Day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roaring traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, night and day. Under the height of me, there's oh such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and this torment won't be through till you let me spend my life making love to you, day and night, night and day, day and night, night and day, day and night, night and day. I think there must be a universality to this song, and all of his songs, that keeps people interested even after all this time. Now, during the 30s and 40s, Cole moved to, with Linda, to Los Angeles because he was working on films. And he took a little flack from the critics because they said, oh, he's writing down for the movies. He's writing low-brow stuff. And Cole had a good answer for that. I agree with him. He said, you know, those sophisticated references that I put in my other songs, the highbrow stuff, they're fun for me and about 16 other people. And they're all first-nighters anyway. They can afford to go to a Broadway show. But I'm writing for people who go to the movies. And I have to think, in my opinion, that this song, it's not written down to anybody, and it suits the film and its intended audience perfectly. So what do critics know? Sorry, Marilyn. She's a critic. I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart, you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I've tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair never will go so well. Why should I try to resist when, darling, I know so well I've got you under my skin. I would sacrifice anything, come what may, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in the night and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you'll never win. Use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin. 'Cause I've got you under my skin. 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 Well, the Porters were in Los Angeles. You know, Linda was fine with Cole being gay. That was fine with her, she didn't mind. But while they were in Los Angeles, his romantic exploits became a little too overt for her. He was, in her opinion, he was being a little too indiscreet. And so she left for a while. She moved to the East Coast. And perhaps it's because his attitude was a little bit like this. It's the wrong time and the wrong place. Though your face is charming, it's the wrong face. It's not his face, but such a charming face. So it's all right with me. It's the wrong song in the wrong style. Though your smile is lovely, it's the wrong smile. It's not his smile, but such a lovely smile. So it's all right with me. You can't know how happy I am that we met. I'm strangely attracted to you. Someone I'm trying so hard to forget. Don't you want to forget someone too? It's the wrong game with the wrong chips. Though your lips are tempting, they're the wrong lips. They're not his lips, but they're such tempting lips that if some night you're free, well, it's all right. It's all right with me. I always like to joke that that song should be set in a hotel bar because there's so many beds handy. Now, when Colbert was 46, he went out horseback riding. I think people know that he had a serious accident. The horse fell and landed on both of his legs, crushing them both. And while he was laying on the ground in agony, waiting to be rescued, he thought, oh, I'll distract myself by writing a song. And this is that song. Is this an earthquake or merely a shock? Is this the real turtle soup or only the mock? Should I blame my cocktail for this feeling of joy? Or is what I feel the real McCoy? Is this for all time or simply a lark? Is that Granada I see or only Asbury Park? Is this a fancy not worth thinking of? Or is it at long last love? Is this a fancy not worth thinking of? Or is it at long last love? Is it at long last love? You know, over the next decades, Cole would undergo like 35 operations on his legs. And he often said that writing music helped him deal with the pain, because he was always in constant pain. And there is something to be said for that, because scientifically speaking, they say the same part of our brain that processes music is the same part that processes pain. which is why music therapy works, because the experience of music elevates dopamine levels and endorphins, and those are the happy hormones. And so I think, you know, he's prolific anyway. He would have written a lot of songs anyway. But after this terrible accident, music was a true godsend to him. It really, I think it saved his sanity. Linda returned to him soon after that, and they remained together for the rest of their lives. She was like his mother. She was a source of comfort to him and security, and she was a very good partner to him. And I think of all the songs he wrote, this one to me kind of capsulizes how he felt about her. Whenever skies look gray to me and troubles begin to brew, whenever the winter winds blow too cold, I concentrate on you. When fortune says no way to me and people declare I'm through, whenever the blues become my only song, I concentrate on you, on your smile so sweet, so tender. When first our souls combine, or the light in your eyes when you surrender, and once again, our arms entwine. So when wise men say to me that true love never comes true, to prove that even wise men can be wrong, I concentrate on you. To prove that even wise men can be wrong, concentrate on you. Cole would continue to work through his pain, and he achieved many further successes even after the accident. And he still had many friends, but he didn't entertain in a big way. He'd probably meet his friends just a few at a time at their apartment at the Waldorf. And he would always greet them seated. And after they'd been socializing for a little while, a very posh butler would come in and say, perhaps the guests would like to repair to the salon for a few moments. And everybody understood, oh, they're going to move him. They're going to move him to the dining room table. And nobody said anything. They would just dutifully go off to the salon and wait till the butler summoned them to the dining room. And then they'd sit down, and no one said a thing. No one wanted to embarrass him. And he wanted to keep this illusion that all was well with him. And of course, his friends wanted to support him in that. When Cole was 61, his mother passed away. That was his first muse, the first person who really supported him in every way and gave him complete acceptance. And then 2 years later, Linda died of emphysema. That was his second muse. He'd been with her for 35 years. And a few years after that, he allowed the doctors to finally amputate one of his legs, the one that was the most painful, the most damaged. And he never wrote another song after that. I know. It's, I suppose he just felt like, what for? I've done everything, I've written everything I wanted to write. And really, he could have put his pen down several years before that, so, I mean, he didn't have to write anymore, but I don't know, I guess something just went out of him when he lost his leg. I remember seeing him on the Ed Sullivan show once. He had a prosthetic that he would wear, and he could walk for maybe just a few steps, very gingerly. And you know, I don't know if you ever, did anybody see Ed Sullivan? When he would, Ed would invite people to come and talk to him on the stage after they performed or something. They usually came from stage left, and they walk across the stage to him. But with Cole, they opened the curtain right behind Ed, and Cole sort of walked out very gingerly, and Ed immediately grabbed his arm, I think to steady him. So I think, I don't know, I think he must have been very frail at that point. So I have one more song I want to play for you, but before that, I definitely want to thank all of you for coming. I can't believe how many of you are here today. And I also want to thank Brittany Inman. She's standing over there. She is the, are you the general manager? Is that who you are? Something like that. And Nancy Winston is sitting over there. She's the person who invited me. She's turning around too. Nancy is also a very accomplished singer-pianist. She's worked at the Pierre and the Waldorf and all those places. And hats off to you. Thank you for inviting me to do this. It's been a pleasure. And I hope to chat with some of you after the show and maybe see some of you down at dinner after the show. So I'll leave you with this last song. You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire, while the breeze on high sang a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire, under stars, chilled by the winter, under an August moon, burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to and love. Thank you. Thank you very much.
A lovely evening. Congratulations, Sheree. She has such a soothing style. And I've seen countless Cole Porter shows, but I learned more about him tonight. Her thoughtful, perceptive perspective on his life, and she summed it all up, personally and professionally. It was a joy to be here. It was the best spoken word on his biography that I have ever heard. And his songs illustrated it. I loved her choices. Congratulations.
I'm a big Cole Porter fan, and now I'm one of your fans. I heard so many of the songs in a new way, very simply. You let the lyrics shine through and your own heart behind them, so congratulations.
Hello, my sweet girl. You did such a great job. This room is perfect on you. Your voice sounded like crystal. I'm very proud of you, and yeah, I can't wait to give you a hug in person. Congratulations.
I loved it. I thought it was just so beautiful and melodic, and my God, Cole Porter. I mean, but yes, Sheree was absolutely lovely.
It makes you feel really relaxed, and I love her storytelling. It was a lovely, lovely evening.
Extremely engaging.
Yeah.
I love her style of singing too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna steal one of the songs.
Yes.
She was really rocking.
I love the show. I think listening to Sheree Sano is like being wrapped in a warm blanket. Her narration and her choice of songs and her heartfelt delivery were just terrific. And I'm a new fan. And I'm going to go hear her at Chez Josephine, and I couldn't be happier that she performed for us here at the Coffee House Salmagundi Gallery. So come back soon, Sheree. You were just wonderful. Thank you.
Hi. Well, this was just a delightful evening. This is the first time, I have to admit, that I have seen Sheree do a whole program. I've seen her do piano bar, and what I was taken with was the fact that she's such a lovely jazz stylist. She really sort of bends the melody sometimes to suit what she wants to say, but I love how her phrasing lyrically is just beautiful. So I've really heard some of these songs in a way that I had not heard before.
Bravo! Sheree, wonderful! Yay! We love you. We love you.
I'm so pleased I got to come tonight, Sheree, because I've always enjoyed every time I've spoken to you, and your lovely, gentle and full and sincere way, and you just brought that to all of the songs tonight, and it was really, really lovely. So thank you for a treat.
I say I've always been lucky. God blessed me with a very dirty mind. But this woman showed me double entendres in these lyrics that I have never heard before. Most importantly, besides Nancy, there is another cabaret star who would like to sing your praises. Please, Steve Ross.
Thank you very much. Cole Porter was famous for, speaking of rapping, of putting the facts of life in a very elegant surrounding. So I'll get right to the point and say, before tonight, I was a Sheree Sano virgin. It's the last time I'll be a virgin for anyone. But it was an evening of low-key evening, but an evening of high communication. I remember at English, I was watching an English thing, and the English barmaid was talking, and someone said from the table, "Hey there, give us a song." And that's what she did tonight. In a very, her own humility, I let the lyrics of all of those wonderful songs really shine, and I heard them in a new way, and I heard them her way, and I had a wonderful time.